Berkeley kids who really, the boys, were very young in the Great Depression, and um, many of them came out of the Depression feeling badly about themselves, having no sense of direction in their lives. As adolescents, they seemed quite lost, and they didn't do well in school. And here, when Jean looks at them at age 40, um, she can't believe how well they've done. And what she doesn't do is ask, well, what kind of life have these people led? And some of these people went into the war, and some people didn't, and it made a lot of difference. The kids, the boys, who left home and went into the military um, often did so um, as soon as they could to get away from home. And you can see the developmental change in their life up to age 40. They gain self-confidence, they gain a sense of assertiveness, um, and they were doing quite well in their jobs. They'd completed their educations. Um, and yet Jean never really looked at this at all. She really was looking at a different thing. And I think I always use this as an example of um, lives are lived in a changing world. And if you study those lives longitudinally over time and ignore the context, the situations they're living through, you're going to miss most of the story. And I think that's the big point, that all of these longitudinal studies that are going on throughout the world, we really do live in an age of longitudinal studies. It's so easy for people to ignore context and just do the study and forget about where they've been. But you can't do that without missing an awful lot of the story. And I think that that probably is the number one point that life course theory and research has to offer, that lives are always lived in context, historical and spatial. And you can't look at historical time without looking at where it's happening. And you can't look at where it's happening without asking when it's happening. And then those changes make a difference in how we live our life. And that process has everything to do with who we become and how we live, how we are psychologically at midlife or at age 50. So I think this is the major contribution that we can make to the study of lives and human development, is to get people who are doing the studies to realize that it's not just simply a cohort sequential design that they need, but they need to pay attention to the changes that are taking place in the lives of these people in a macro sense as well as a micro sense, and put those two together.